Good afternoon. I'm Angela Taylor. Today marks the day the country will always sit in silence to remember those who lost their lives in the bombing of the federal building in Oklahoma City. It's been 15 years since 168 people died and more than 680 were injured in an act of domestic terrorism that changed Oklahoma City forever. A ceremony began just before 9:02 this morning, the exact time when that bomb went off.
This was a spiritual commitment from minute one. And that's why all of us today are so stitched together in love and brotherhood and hope, because as horrible as that time was, out of evil good comes, and we believe that, and good will come. And I'm so proud to be an Oklahoman.
Nor shall we forget the 168 Oklahomans who perished here, including 19 children and babies.
Timothy McVeigh was convicted and executed for the crime. His co-conspirator Terry Nichols is serving a life sentence in prison. A Callahan County man had to be rescued after his SUV rolled over. It happened just after noon today. According to DPS troopers, a Ford Explorer was westbound on FM 18 just outside the Abilene city limits. The vehicle traveled off the side of the road, then overcorrected, causing the Explorer to roll over onto its roof. Abilene and Clyde firefighters pried him out of the vehicle using the jaws of life. The driver was taken to a local hospital for what's expected to be non-life-threatening injuries. And 2 people were killed in a car accident in Eastland County Sunday morning on I-20. DPS troopers say a Dodge pickup truck crossed the center median and slammed into a Toyota. 54-year-old Philip Cage and 20-year-old Rachel Cage were both taken to Hendrick Medical Center, where they later died from their injuries. 3 other people were taken to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. Funeral services are scheduled this week in Baird for the man who died after he was shot in a duel between neighbors. The funeral for James Mark Horton is scheduled Wednesday morning at First Methodist Church in Baird. He was shot and killed last week during a dispute about property lines. Investigators charged Otis Carter with felony assault with a deadly weapon. Carter is a neighbor of Horton's family. One man is behind bars after an attempted robbery at a Northwest Abilene convenience store. Abilene police rushed to the store at North 10th and Pioneer around 11 last night when the clerk reported the disturbance. Police say the suspect suffered minor injuries in a confrontation with the store clerk. Ambulance attendants took the alleged criminal to a local hospital for treatment. The suspect was arrested and faces robbery charges. The clerk was not injured. Residents around California Creek in Jones County are seeing water levels rise out of the banks. The creek is more than 2.5 feet above bank full. It should be below flood stage this evening. Water continues to flow into Lake Stanford on Paint Creek and is continuing to rise very slowly. There's flood on low-lying areas and low water crossings around Lake Stanford and Paint Creek. Flood advisories are posted for Jones, Throckmorton, and Shackelford counties. And the water's so high at Brazos that some of its water is being taken to Lake Fort Phantom Hill. The water was scalped from the river and pumped into the Lake Fort Phantom Hill. The only time Abilene can take water from the Clear Fork is when it reaches a certain volume. That happens when heavy rain falls in specific areas in Jones and Fisher counties, and it drains into the river. And we didn't wake up to heavy rainfall in the Big Country today, but that could all change later in the week. Let's turn to Sam in the Forecast Center with more on our weather. Sam.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that flooding. You're exactly right that the Clear Fork of the Brazos being scalped into Lake Fort Phantom is an indication of how much rain took place in the northern portions of the Big Country. Right now, nothing on power Doppler radar at all. Let's go to our graphics and you'll see the areas that are involved in a flood advisory. We have southern Haskell County, northern Jones County, and northern Shackelford County and southern Throckmorton County. These 4 counties are involved in that flood advisory until 8 p.m. this evening. Also flood advisories to the east out of our viewing area, but concerns with the Clear Fork of the Brazos and also California Creek and then Paint Creek as it moves into Lake Stanford up in southern Haskell County. And we're keeping an eye on that. Here's our headlines. We're going to see some clearing. Everybody's ready for a little bit of sunshine. Warming trend starts tomorrow, but we do have another system moving through late Thursday night into Friday morning. Angela, that could mean some severe weather. We'll talk about that in just a little bit.
All right, we're all starting to get cabin fever around here. Thanks, Sam. Well, Abilene city officials are working on a plan for improving the housing opportunities available here. The issue is on the agenda at Thursday's City Council meeting. The Federal Office of Neighborhood Services Advisory Council requires the city to have a housing improvement plan in order to receive some federal money. City officials conducted a survey by Abilene Christian University to find solutions to the biggest issues for the city for the next 5 years. That survey will be a part of the report to City Council. Place 6 on AISD School Board is up for grabs. Dan Simons is challenging incumbent Stan Lambert for place 6 on the board. The two will speak at a forum on April 20th at the Abilene High School auditorium. That starts at 7 o'clock. The forum is open to the public, and the candidates are set to answer questions submitted in advance. Well, Abilene's looking a little cleaner. Over the weekend, several Abilene residents took advantage of the city's Spring Clean event. City officials say they collected 118 tons of trash, over 1,000 vehicles, and close to 1,600 old tires. Residents were able to drop off all kinds of unwanted items like old furniture, appliances, as well as recyclable items free of charge during that Spring Clean event. Well, it's costing some passengers more to fly on Spirit Airlines. Find out why other airliners say what they're doing isn't right.
What was that? It was really loud. And not more than 2 seconds later, my little nephew comes around the corner and he says, "Auntie Laura, something just fell out of the sky and almost hit me."
It fell about in here, and
it wasn't a bird and it wasn't a plane. Find out what fell from the sky, almost hitting this 10-year-old boy. Plus this.
Airspace over the UK will start to open tomorrow. I'm Rita Nissan at Heathrow Airport in London. That story is coming up.
And mostly cloudy again tomorrow, but we will see some sunshine on Wednesday. Sam's forecast is coming up next. You're watching KTAB News at 5.